Hey everybody, welcome to the Stamp Anything YouTube channel. It is Kevin here, and today we're going to be coloring King Louie. So let's go ahead and color King Louie. Today we are going to be starting with some E's. We're going to use E09, E39, YR27, E33, and YR21. So I guess there's some E's and YRs in there. So that's going to make up starting his body color. So let's start with that. So our E09 is our burnt sienna. Just going to make sure I've got a little scratch piece of paper here off to the side. Just make sure my markers are okay. So E09, burnt sienna. So this is going to be for the darkest parts of our little orangutan. I'm going to put them into his fingers, his hand. So I am leaving space for other colors in there, but I'm also kind of using a little bit of a flicking motion for his hair here, his fur. We are going to kind of treat it like a hair-like texture, and it's harder to tell, but I did actually stamp him out in a dark brown color, and then just did his eyes and a little bit of his nose with that black Memento dual marker pen. I'm going to spin him around now just to make it a little bit easier to get that fur texture in here where I want. And that. And I've got a little bit back here as well. And I'm just going to make sure I go over these lines. And I want them defined with this E09 color, which is the darkest color that we're going to be using here. A little bit in here. And a little bit under his belly, because I want that to be one of the darker areas as well. There we go. And I'm just going to come down a little bit from his shoulders, bring some of that color down. And under his chin here. And kind of coming out from around his arms. And I want to make sure I have a little bit more up into the side of his face there. And from the top of his head. I'm also going to put that color down into his toes. Can't forget those. Can't forget the toes. Look, I'm rhyming. Who knew? A little bit just on each side. And that was our E09. So our E09, that burnt sienna, was our first color. So E39 leather is going to be our next color. And I'm just kind of adding it in there as flicks. Again, because I want him to have a fur texture. I don't want him to be completely solid. Which, of course, by all means, you can color whatever way you want. And then I'm going to turn them around. And there we go. Our E39 leather. Now from our E39 leather, we're going to our YR27, which is our Tuscan orange. So I know now we're getting into the weird colors, but where it'll work out. Because they will blend, I promise. King Louie is kind of like a, well, he's an orangutan, so they're kind of like that orangey brown color. I wanted to make sure he kind of still represented that. And just kind of getting it all in there, flicking it in there. Now I'm going to my from my YR27, that Tuscan orange. I'm going to my E33, which is my sand. So now we're getting lighter. Now with that lighter color, I am going in where I see any white now. And that's where I'm starting to go over it and get rid of that white. Wherever I see white, except where it's intended to be like between his finger there, still white. But into his little orangutan feet. What is your favorite character in the Jungle Book story? And what is your favorite character from the Wild About You release? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. Comments help us a lot. Sharing the video, just giving us a simple like or thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you have all notifications on. So whenever we go live or post a new video, you get a notification so you don't miss anything. Then I'm going to turn him around. Whoop. Slide him back this way. Again, I'm just trying to make sure any of those white spots are gone. And I do have one more marker that I'm going to be adding into the mix here. Once I know that I'm kind of happy with the color saturation as I have it right now for King Louie. All right, I think we are good to go and move on. He's looking a little weird right now with only this part of his body colored. Oh, and I just realized I forgot to do under his tummy, under his little belly. There we go. That blended in there. Last color up on deck is YR21. So this is our cream. Our little cream color in there. And this is just going to do a little final warm up, a little bit of blending everything together, getting those Copic colors to kind of meld in together. Oop. The first time I've done that actually in a little bit is where I've colored outside of the line. And if you know me, I go crazy. I can't have it. I can't have colors outside the line. I can't do it. I must have colored outside the line a lot. Oh, that's fine. A lot as a child, and I must be like traumatized. As I said, don't color outside the line. Like, oh no, I did. Hide the evidence. Or I'm just crazy, you know, one of the two. All right, so you can kind of see how this YR21, that cream color, is kind of like softening everything, softening the blends and the transitions between that, like the E09, E39, Y27, E33. So they're all kind of like softening up together. So we're keeping texture, but we're softening the blend with that cream. And too, if you want, you can always add some more definition in after you add your lightest color by going back with some of the darker colors again. You just have to decide on basically what you're happy with, what you want it to look like. I think I'm kind of liking what's going on here. I think I might add a little bit of YR27, that Tuscan orange, back in a few places. Just because I didn't want to use my full dark color, I didn't want to use like the E09 or the E39. What do you think of this kind of little blend of colors that we've got going on here? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it hard to use? Is it easy to use? Let me know. And I really want to know as well is, do you prefer the full-length videos where it is just like this, just me talking and coloring with you? Or do you like some of the sped up videos, or are those just too hard? Because this release, I think we talked about it before, is I've done only videos that are full-length coloring, and I've done them on every character so far. So obviously I'm pre-recording these in advance, and I've got them all colored. The only last one that I need to color is Shere Khan. I've got everybody colored, so this was my second last character I had to do. And again, you can see that in the end, I've decided to use my colorless blender. All right. So now I'm going to go to his belly. I know his face looks really weird right now. We're going to get to it. But for his belly color, we are going to be using E17, E15, E13, and E11. So our E17 is our reddish brass. So that color is going to be his darker color in his belly. And I want this to be like a less textured look in here and a more blend. So we're going E17. E15, and I'm just kind of rounding it up in here. I'm going to blend those colors through. I'm going to spin them around. I'm just kind of creating almost like a C shape back and forth with the side of my marker. And then we're going to our E13, so that is our desert sand. And then our desert sand, I'm going to start it pretty low over where we've already colored. And then bring it up. And then just back and forth here. And then our E11. Right in the middle. In a circular motion up into here. Bring that down. However, I'm going to use a little bit of E17 here. just as a shadow line under his fur over his belly. Now I'm going to do his muzzle. His muzzle E17. So I'm going to keep this a little bit lower now. So this is just under his bottom lip there, and a little bit under his nose on each side. And some of that E15. And our E13. And then under his nose and around. I'm going to spin him around here. And there we go. Then we've got a little bit of E11. And just kind of going over that mouth area there. Now for his nose, I'm going to be using E04. So this is our Lipstick Natural. I'm going to be putting that right into the bottom here. And then I'm going to go in with RV10. And blend that up. We're kind of doing a little bit of a pinky nose here. And I think I'm going to make it a little bit deeper. So I'm going to go back in with that E04. I'm just going to go over the whole nose. There we go. And then add some of that RV10 back over it again. Ooh, there we go. I like that color. Oh, it's good. So the RV10, I'm going to add a little bit right into the middle belly area here. And a little bit into the upper muzzle part. Just a little bit. And I will let that sit. So now we're going to be doing his upper part of his face and his ears. So those colors we're going to be using E77, E74, E71, and also BV20 and V20. But I'm going to start with my BV and my V first. So I'm going to use that BV20, that dull lavender first. And this is going to go right around his eyes. I really want him to have that like orangutan face look. We're going to go around his eyes here. Nice and simple. With that BV20. And then we're going to go in with that V20. And I'm going to go right outside where I colored. Just bring it out a little bit wider here. So don't be afraid to go out a little wider because we're going to be adding color around it. So there. So we've got that color right around his eyes. So now we're going to go in with that BB77, which is our maroon. So I'm going to start in his ears. And I'm actually going to bring it up and around the outside of his ears a bit. With E77. Then I'm going to put that right into the bottom here and bring it up and around his muzzle a bit. So out to the outside and right up there. I'm going to go across his little forehead lines and a little bit right there onto the top of his fur there. And now we're going to go in with our E74. So this is our cocoa brown. So we're going to go in, add that to the ear color. Add that here. I'm going to connect it to the top. A little bit right in here. So I kind of want to make sure that this kind of stops right under that little eye fold. I'm going to go up and around. That E7-4. Now our E7-1, which is our champagne, that's going to kind of fill it in and lighten the rest. So we can put that into his ears now. I'm going to bring this line right straight down the middle in between his eyes. And then up and over each eyebrow. And then here, I'm going to just bounce side to side to get my little blend. Keep that around. Lighten it up in here a little bit. Here. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab the RV10 again, just to go right into his the inside part of his ear bit. Just to lighten that up and give it a little pink tone in there. Then, of course, I'm going to grab my Jelly Roll pen, my white jelly pen. Jelly pen. Well, it's called a Jelly Roll, but it's a gel pen. And a little eye highlight in there. And I'm going to add a little bit more right to that side. And here we have our finished, stamped out, and colored King Louie. Again, I hope you enjoyed our little coloring session today with me. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, comment, share, do everything you can, but most of all, have fun. And what is our saying? It is stamp it, color it, and love it. So again, I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me, Fannies. It has been awesome, and I can't wait to color again with you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.